Hello nerds! Thank you once again for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your week in Nerdom, and we're switching things up this week. I'm gonna break this video into 5 videos and post one a day, so I've got something to be posting all week. The video you happen to be watching right now is the movies video, and this week in movies we've got some crazy stuff about Batman, the Batman movie. We have Disney is still all over Fox, and they're coming to something, and all kinds of Dark Phoenix stuff, a little bit of Star Wars before it hits theaters later this week. Before we get into all of that and then some, trust me, movies is the biggest section this week. Let's get into an intro sequence.
Generally Nerdy.
Movie news for your weekend Nerdom. Let's start at the top and just kind of work our way down, I think. This is easily our largest section of the week, so I'm going to try and speed through it. There's a lot of stuff, though. Lots and lots of stuff. Venom. We've gotten pictures recently. It wasn't this last week, it was a little bit before that, but I kind of talked about it, but we're going to hit on it a little better. In the tweeted pic that Tom Hardy posted on his Twitter, he's in a military kind of uniform, and military has not been a thing that Eddie Brock has done. Even though they've announced that this is going to be Eddie Brock Spider-Man, or Eddie Brock Venom, rather, and there's not going to be Spider-Man. However that works, it's whatever. Anyway, so are they going to incorporate bits of the Flash Thompson Agent Venom, or is it just going to be Lethal Protector Venom? What is the story going to be? This one I want to talk about. That's why we're bringing it up today. Let's talk about that in the comments down below. Agent Venom happened after Flash Thompson lost his eyes. That's irrelevant. Anyway, next we're moving on. Gambit just can't get a break. Gambit has been pushed off until March. What does that say about the February 2019 goal? Are they going to have to push back the release date as well, because the production date has been moved back to March? We may never know. Well, we will eventually. But I don't know. I was kind of stoked because we had some momentum and we were going, and then all of a sudden, bleh, we get pushed back to March. So we'll see how that happens. Next, we have a little bit of DC Extended Universe news. There is apparently going to be a shakeup as of the new year. By January, the current director of production, so the guy that is on top of everything for the movie side of things, is a guy named Jon Berg. He is going to be moving into a strictly producer role in Warner Brothers, and is not going to have anything to do with the DC movies. Jeff Johns, who is constantly teamed up with Berg, is at first just going to kind of just pick up the slack, but they're talking eventually they're going to move him into a more advisory role, and then potentially bring in a brand new director of production to put them into a better. They're right now they're running things where the DC movies are made kind of in an element all unto their own. They all exist in this one studio that Warner Brothers owns, and they're all kind of made under Berg, and Berg is the big guy in charge, with Johns kind of helping out, is the way it sounds. Berg's leaving, Johns is going to be the new guy on top, and I think that's going to help a lot. I think the little bit of good we got with Justice League, and I think that The more power Johns has, the better, because he's been writing these characters for so long in the comic book side of things. So just a good, I feel like this is good news all around. They're bringing the comic book movies in closer to home. They're all going to be under one roof now, instead of over here like, oh no, these are the nerdy movies, we don't really care about them. They're starting to pour a lot more money into them, so they're starting to care about them a little bit more. So I feel like this is good news, but only time will tell on that one. Shazam. Zachary Levy they've been doing table reads and they've been getting everything going. Zachary Levy has now obviously seen the script and compares it to a mashup of Guardians of the Galaxy and the movie Big with Tom Hanks from the early 90s. I think it was like 91. He was talking about that in a panel at the Hero and Villain Fest in San Jose. I feel like that's a really interesting and kind of unexpected good combination. I like that description, and I feel like that makes me a little bit more optimistic for this movie. Also, they have made a new casting announcement, so I feel like this rounds out the entire cast. Freddie Freeman is going to be played by Jack Dylan Grazer, who is Freddie Freeman is Billy Bastion's best friend in the comic books, who also eventually gets imbued with superpowers as well, even though he doesn't become an adult when he says the word Shazam. So, I mean, it's comic books, comic book logic, whatever. So that's really cool. We have a completed cast now, and they're looking at scripts and they're reading and they're getting things going. So production is definitely underway on Shazam. So that is something to be excited about. M. Night Shyamalan's Glass has finished primary photography. Glass, if you don't know, is the superhero movie that M. Night Shyamalan is making with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know why I had to look at my notes for that. It's also going to have James McAvoy in it, because he was in the last Shyamalan movie. I can't remember the name of it because I didn't write it down. It was great, though. It was really, really good. I have been super waffly on Shyamalan stuff. Really, the only thing he's made that I really, really liked was Unbreakable and Sixth Sense. And you can't really watch Sixth Sense a second time and have it be as good. So, Unbreakable, though, is still a good movie. It's still a very interesting take on an origin story for a superhero. And now we got the McAvoy movie where he has the Split. That's what it's called. Split personalities. It's called Split. He's a villain, and Glass is played by Samuel L. Jackson, and he's like the big villain. And yeah. Anyway, really, really interested to see what comes of this. Shyamalan also is picking up, and this is TV news, but we've already done the TV video for this week. Anyway, Shyamalan is picking up the Tales from the Crypt title and turning it into a series for TNT. I'm interested. I'd like to see how Shyamalan will do Tales from the Crypt. But yeah, that's that bit for Glass. Next, we are moving into the bit we teased for this section, which is Star Wars. Rian Johnson has teased that we will see a new hue in this newest Star Wars movie. New hue of lightsaber. I'm sorry, I didn't finish that thought. New hue of lightsaber. So we're going to get a new color of lightsaber. Now, does he mean new to this trilogy? Because that, theoretically, could be Luke's green lightsaber could be coming back. Or does he mean new to the entire Star Wars universe? Because if that's the case, my take is Snoke is going to have something new. Snoke is going to have like a black lightsaber or something. That could be awesome. I want to hear from you guys on that one, though. What do you think this news means? Is it going to be something that even matters, or is it Luke's green saber? What do you guys think? Let's talk about that down low. Moving on, we're into Deadpool 2. We all know everything about Deadpool 2. It's done filming. They are moving into... No. Yeah, they're moving into post. Josh Brolin, the whole crew's as he beats, all of those people, Ryan Reynolds. But so Deadpool 2 made an appearance to some degree. I don't know if it was Ryan Reynolds or if it was just somebody from the production team or if they had like a stuntman dressed in the Deadpool costume and they were doing some sort of promotion at the Brazil Comic-Con. There's that word again, Comic-Con. This video is going to be up before the comic book section, so potentially San Diego is going to be suing Brazil Comic-Con too for infringing on their title. Anyway, bird walking. And Deadpool 2 was present at the Brazil Comic-Con, and they were going to be paying for tattoos for anyone that wanted to get a Deadpool 2 tattoo at Brazil Comic-Con. That seems like the weirdest freaking promotion ever. But it's Deadpool 2, so you can't really expect too much, right? Moving on, scary stories to tell in the dark. How many of you in the Nerdom right now watching this remember these books from your childhood? Are you even old enough to have gotten these from your childhood? The book series, there was 3 of them, I believe. At least 2, but I'm pretty sure there was 3. The book series that was too scary, the artwork was too scary, so they had to, in subsequent issues, they took out all the artwork and replaced it with something that was less scary. Although you can still find them on eBay, and if you're really, really good at going to like thrift stores and things like that, they are still around. Anyway, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is getting a movie. Andre, I'm gonna butcher this last name. Andre Overdrall, something, Norwegian, I think. The guy who wrote The Autopsy of Jane Doe and Troll Hunters. Autopsy of Jane Doe is a decent horror movie, I'm not gonna lie. I think it went straight to Netflix, but still, decent horror movie. Is set to direct, and that's all we really know about it so far. No release date, no casting, no anything like that, no leaked scripts, but that's just a very interesting announcement because I loved those books when I was a kid. I remember just fawning over the artwork and how scary the stories were. It was fantastic. Anyway, moving into another one of the bits that we teased for the intro on this was Batman. So the Batman is, if Jake Gyllenhaal isn't cast in this movie, then Jon Hamm really wants to get the role of the Batman. Now, this one I really want to hear your guys' take on because I think Jon Hamm can do it. I think Jon Hamm can be a great Batman. I feel like he would be a better Bruce than Batman, but still pretty interesting kind of, yeah, we could do that. So what do you guys think? Who would be better if Affleck is out before the Batman movie gets made? Who would be a better replacement? Jake Gyllenhaal, who is younger and theoretically in better shape, though that's kind of irrelevant because by the time they actually get to filming, anyone can be in any kind of shape they need to be. But I feel like Hamm would be a better Bruce and Gyllenhaal might be a better Batman. What do you guys think? Let's talk about that one down low. I'm going to hold off on Dark Phoenix until the end. Disney and Fox are almost done. The bankers are being called in for what they call to work out the fine details, to write up the paperwork, I think was the actual quote. So this is going to happen. And one source that I saw said it will happen, what was it? Could be done by Christmas, so 2 weeks out approximately. Another source says by next week this will be done. So we're going to be keeping our eyes very, very close to this because, wow. If it's done that soon, even if it's done by Christmas, then that means easily we were right about it being this could be the momentum that they're looking for to bring in the new phase when they have to recast everybody anyway, to have all of Marvel under one roof save for the Spider-Man Marvel, which is still in quasi-limbo from Sony because they're still not 100% playing nice. But interesting thing. Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse is the next bit we're talking about. It is coming out this Christmas. Actually, it is coming out next week, the same day as Star Wars. Were you guys thinking, Sony? What the heck? It's an animated movie that is going to revolve around Miles Morales, so Ultimate Spider-Man. Not Ultimate, though. It's going to be in the proper Spider universe, in Earth Prime. But it's Into the Spider-Verse. So we're going to get a lot of the different versions of Spider-Man. So I'm down. I don't know if I'm going to go see it in theaters necessarily, but I am going to see it, and we'll talk about it. Moving on. Star Trek. I could have talked about this last week, but I thought it was a joke. I'm not kidding. I really thought this was a joke that somebody put up. But Quentin Tarantino is very likely going to direct the next Star Trek movie. It will be produced by J.J. Abrams, and it will be a direct sequel following Star Trek Beyond. It's going to be rated R. Quentin Tarantino gave a pitch. They hired a writer, Mark L. Smith, the guy who wrote The Revenant, which was also a pretty good movie. He's set to write the script based on Tarantino's pitch. And Patrick Stewart has said that if they asked him to, he would come back as Jean-Luc Picard because it's Tarantino, and who doesn't want to work for Tarantino? And then the Pikachu movie. This one I also thought was a joke, but I found out much sooner that it wasn't. Ryan Reynolds is going to be the voice of Pikachu in the Detective Pikachu movie. No release date for it yet. That's a very weird thing. The Pikachu only says his name. I don't understand why you would cast Ryan Reynolds. Although Vin Diesel is the voice of Groot, and Groot only says one thing. And granted, it's 3 words and not just one, but still. And then our big bit is Dark Phoenix. Okay, so I'm going to read through the notes and then we'll discuss the notes. The new movie is going to at least take place in part in Genosha, the island that Magneto created as a safe haven for mutants. And Magneto is going to be the leader of the mutants on Genosha, just like in the books. It's still coming out November 2nd. The death that we talked about last week, I still think it's going to be Mystique. I still think Jennifer Lawrence really wants out of the blue makeup. She didn't want to make this movie until the director came on, because she's the one who talked the director into doing it, and he said, I'll only do it if you'll be in it, and then, yeah. But she also said she had a lot of fun filming this. That doesn't mean she didn't that doesn't mean she didn't die in this movie. So, CBR disagrees with me. They think the death is going to be Quicksilver, and their reasoning is because Quicksilver isn't in the original trilogy, X1, 2, and 3, so the one that ended with Last Stand that everyone hated. And I say that's not necessarily the case, because Days of Future Past undid all of those 3 movies. So those 3 movies don't count anymore. Thank the Lord above. But they also say, you'll notice that there was a funeral photo that was released that has it only has Xavier, Cyclops, and Storm in it. So James McAvoy, Cody Smith-McKee, Ty Sheridan, and Alexandra Shipp are in it. Nicholas Holt's Beast, Hank McCoy, is not in it as well. There's a couple other people missing. The other one, and it's the funeral scene, so whoever it is that died is in the ground in this picture. The other person that's not in it is Mystique. So my guess is that Mystique is the one who died. Hank McCoy doesn't want to go to her funeral because he has too many feels about it. Xavier has to go because he's Xavier and he's the best. And yeah, there's a whole other bit about why they think it's Quicksilver and nobody else. but I've laid out my reasoning for why I think it's Mystique. So yeah, CBR thinks it's Quicksilver. I'm convinced it's Mystique. Do you guys agree with either of us? Do you have your own theory about who is going to die in Dark Phoenix that comes out November 2nd of next year? Let's talk about that down low in the description. But that, ladies and germs, my fellow nerds out there, is the end of your biggest overhaul this week, the movie video. I thank you guys again very, very much for watching your week in Nerddom right here on Generally Nerdy. I am Generally Nerdy, and you can find me at generallynerdy.net. You can find me on Patreon if you want to help support the things that I do here. Patreon.com/generallynerdy. On Instagram at Generally Nerdy, all one word. On Twitter at Generally_Nerdy. Facebook Generally Nerdy or Generally Nerdy Photo. Just go to the website. It's the easiest way to find me. Go to the Patreon. Help me keep making this wonderful content for all of you fantastic nerds out there. There is going to be some new stuff on the channel soon. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm going to try and start what I'm going to call what was the name that I had? Nerdy House. Yeah, I can't remember. Nerdy. It's the cooking stuff and just general things around nerd life and things like that. So, that being said, thank you again for watching. I do have to remind you guys always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.